Did we make it, folks? Are we
Hey,
there?
everybody.
Or is this Memorex?
Hi, everybody. This is Tasha with Prep for It. Welcome. It's good to see you all. It was not cooperating with us like it did last time for me and Mouse. So we had a little bit of technical problems, but back up here because that's going to drive me absolutely insane. There. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you. Janice, thank you for coming in. Mom Slayer, good to see you. C. Dean, Judy. If I'm missing somebody, I'm sorry. Gardner Josh was out there. I think Sandra was out there as well. I think I said Dean already. Suburban Hillbilly, Stringfield Ridge Farm. I always say it wrong.
Yeah,
Ridge Farm.
that one's a tongue twister if you're not careful.
Springfield Ridge Farm. I'm the worst. Sorry, I took your name, Springfield. Okay, so today we have a special guest host here, Mr. SOP, Southern Ohio Prepping, and really appreciate you coming on, Southern Ohio Prepping.
No problem.
And then, of course, my incredible co-host Mouse Toes. Thank you for coming. She's going to spearhead this tonight, so I'm just going to be here for a report and to.
Wait a minute, you expect me to carry this whole stream? I didn't bring that much content.
Well, I was talking about Mouse, but yeah, you two can carry it. I'll just kick back and relax and enjoy my.
The hard part of this, just as a reminder, is that Dave, SOP, has a real cable internet connection. Tasha and I are on DSL, and of course, I'm on the coast of South Carolina. She's in Oklahoma. Like right now, froze. Why am I frozen? My cache was cleared, everything. I've had a good connection all day, and now I look like a bobblehead. So evidently, go ahead.
See, you neither one of you usually have this problem. It's because I'm up here and YouTube hates me.
No,
we had a problem like a week or two ago also with that. So.
Yeah, that's when they kicked me off YouTube for a week.
Mm-hmm.
See, they got secret spies that knew you guys wanted me up here, and they found out somehow. So now you got to pay for it.
We'll take the hit because you're Southern Ohio Prepping, and you are smart. I love when you do reviews, and I really dig them. And I like the fact, like I'm just doing food storage for two people, two adults, me and Vern. SOP is a single dad, so he's providing food and doing food storage for himself and a child. So I thought. Yes, but he liked some of the things that you had. Can you talk about some of the reviews you did on the things that he really liked?
Well, a long time ago, which the videos have been pulled off of my channel due to copy issues from YouTube monetizing it, not giving me a cent for it, and the company making a fortune. Literally, they have sold probably 17 or 18 what they call year kits just because of my videos. So they've made a small fortune off me. I received nothing for it, received no compensation, no discount on products. And I got a little sick and tired of, them getting their pockets full and me not getting anything for it. Maybe that's a little selfish on my part, but I did spend several hours putting together videos for Food for Patriots, or it's now called For Patriots, which is also Patriots Pantry for those who want to go digging. They're the same company. So if you're buying Patriots Pantry, you're also buying For Patriots. Okay, it's the same food. It's the exact same food, same thing in the packages, same containers, just different color. They differentiate themselves by one offers Berkey and the other one does not. So, I mean, they've tried to separate it to make it look like two different companies by offering one or two different items from the other one. But when you dig deep enough and go deep enough down the rabbit hole and start following the money trails, yeah. But that being said, there are certain foods from For Patriots, certain ones from For Pantry or For Patriots, or Patriots Pantry, For Patriots, Mountain House. We've all heard all these beautiful little names of freeze dried and dehydrated foods that you can buy it at somewhat exorbitant prices. Hey, Al, get back in bed,
Hey, Al.
cover that eye, take your medicine, don't argue, or we're all going to come to California and kick your butt. Anywho, there are certain foods that I wouldn't feed a dog. 2 reasons. One, they are the most bland, stinky things that you can cook. And it's usually they're more exotic recipes. Stuff that without some sort of seasoning or flavor in it, it just tastes like mush.
Very unpalatable. Yeah.
Correct. So, and I'm not going to go through the entire menu because it would take too long. If you see something that looks like more of an exotic meal, stay clear of it. Unless you have a pantry full of spices and you know how to spice up your food, which is an art. Anybody that cooks on a regular basis will tell you they have a pantry full of seasonings, and every food has a different seasoning. A couple years ago, I blended 40 different seasonings into a container, and it tasted good on everything from salads to fish to steak. You could put it on anything, and it just really enhanced the flavor. And it was like $48 to put it together.
Wow.
Expensive.
Yeah,
but,
40 seasonings.
Well, that was when I made it. That was like 18 years ago. So now it'd probably be closer to $85 to $90 to put this together.
Wow.
So, yeah, I haven't made it in a while. But when it comes to dehydrated foods, certain things like macaroni and cheese, kids are supposed to love this stuff, right? Even some of us adults kind of like our comfort food, a little bit of macaroni and cheese help calm us down after a hot day and sitting on the relaxing chair outside under the porch. Macaroni and cheese takes some getting used to cooking. That's when it's been freeze dried or dehydrated. You usually have to use at least a third cup less water than what they ask you to. And you really have to monitor it and only add extra water to it as needed to get it to the consistency you want. Otherwise, you're going to have a watery mess that most pigs will turn their nose up at.
Oh.
And I got some from Wise Foods in a subscription package that I got. And it was Battle Box. And they just actually started coming back. Anyway, I got some through a Battle Box, and I tried it, cooked it per directions, and the neighbor's dog turned its head and walked away from it.
Whoa.
Now, I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just when you really need to know how to cook these foods. Some of them, like the chili, use less water than what it says. Or you're going to have a soupy mess of cornbread. Ain't going to sop up.
Ew.
And Mouse can make some good cornbread.
Yes, I can.
And your cornbread would look at you and scream and run the other direction and go feed itself to the fish in the pond. So if you're going
screen is froze up right now.
But when it comes to dehydrated, freeze-dried foods, start with using at least a third cup less water than what I asked you to, and add water as needed to get to the consistency you want. Also, these foods are made bland as heck. Certain things like chili have a natural chili flavor to it. You don't have to add much to it. Maybe some sprinkled cheese on top to help. But certain other things like stroganoff, it looks great. It smells okay when you're cooking it, but it doesn't really have that much flavor to it. And some of these companies don't add beef to the stroganoff when you make it. So you have to rehydrate some beef to go with it too.
Oh, wow.
So getting a very wide variety of things to have in your storage. I have 6 months of freeze-dried food stored here. I also, when I had my other apartment, I had 1.5 years worth of canned goods. Some canned goods last a long time, some don't.
Yeah.
Your kidney beans, your lima beans, and stuff like that. They don't like thyme very well.
Right.
And I don't mean thyme the herb. But when it comes to trying to prep for a kid who's 10 years old, who has ADHD, dad has it too. Getting food stuff that he'll eat in an emergency situation is near impossible. Because I haven't found anybody that's got freeze-dried nuggets. And I mean chicken nuggets.
Right.
Because it's the freeze dry or the chicken nuggets are pre-fried just a little bit to get the breading to stick to it. You know, they're heated, and
Right.
there is an oil that's in the chicken that once you put that coating on it, when you try to freeze dry it or dehydrate it, that oil doesn't get all the way out, so it will go rancid super fast.
Yes.
So you have to really be careful when you go to buying meats. You know, hamburger can be dehydrated fairly easy. I've done it before. I call them hamburger rocks. Rehydrating it takes a little bit of skill, but it can be done. Let's see. When it comes to chicken, I've dehydrated chicken before. I don't have a freeze dryer, so I can't talk about that. If Miss Nina was here, she could spout off on that.
Good.
Or in Pennsylvania Prepper, she's another one that does really good freeze drying videos too.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Well,
but you really have to go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, because if you don't say something, I'll just keep rambling for the next hour and drive everybody insane.
Well, you won't anybody insane. But for those that are coming in, tonight's topic is we're talking about about our preparedness pantries, inflation proofing your food preps. So we've seen the inflation go through the roof, especially over the last year and a half.
Yes.
On everything that we use regularly, and so it can be a real challenge, especially when you have families that are really struggling. As it is, a lot of people are still trying to financially recoup from the layoffs and things like that happened during that time. So we need to have some tips and tricks that we're going to give, that Miss Mouse Chose and SOP are going to give for helping to stock up on things and save money now, because the longer that you go on, the higher the price is going to go. It's never going to go back down to pre-coup prices from the last year and a half. It's just never going to. Everything's staying up, amped up high, and people are seeing shortages in different things. So, hey, Kiss My Grass, good to see you, girl. So
I don't like grass. It leaves green stains in my jeans. I don't like grass.
Yeah, and if you kiss it, your lips and teeth turn green too. So why?
Yes.
Why?
I'd rather have hay or alfalfa myself. At least I can chew on that.
Yeah. It's good for humans and for animals alike. Okay, so Mouse, what is the where would you like to start on all of this?
That's what's weird, because our connection is so weird. And Vern's not online. And I wonder if it's because I'm open to sharing my screen. So if I click stop sharing, I'll have to see. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, as old as you guys' systems are, the more stuff you try to share or do on your computer, the slower it's going to be, because y'all don't have as much memory as I got. And I don't mean up here either.
Listen, bro, I got memory. I just got DSL. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing it and see if then at least my YouTube, I'm not frozen, but I think I'm still.
There you go.
It's a lot better. Yep. It's
you're not a bobblehead no more. You're one of the little hula girls on the dashboard.
But see, on mine, I'm still frozen.
But you're not on our end.
You're not on our end.
Okay, so what we're going to have to do to show pantry porn and have this dang conversation is I'm going to have to do what Dave said from the beginning. I'm actually have to hold up my cell phone, where thankfully I delete these pictures when I transfer them.
Yeah, I'll just put you on screen share when you're ready to share. Just
I know, but how do you figure?
Okay. I'm not screen share, but up on full screen.
Okay, so what we wanted to talk about was, like, September is National Preparedness Month, right? Where even ready.gov used to say have 3 days of food. And of course, now it's gone to 7 days of food. And we know
more. According to Gil, it was supposed to be upgraded to 6 months now. Minimum 3 months up to 6. But that, I don't know if it's actually made the actual change or not. But Gil said that's what they were pushing through, is to change it to 3 months.
Okay. Well, we learned in 2020, right? Because we can't say certain things, that we're used to going to the grocery and replenish things that we might use. But in 2020, if we used them, we couldn't replenish them. And I am so grateful to everybody who contributed when I was asking for community post on what things they were missing. There was so much epic information. I was so thankful, and thank you to everybody who shared things that they missed, things that were hard to replace, because we can all read those comments and go, those items could be missing in my area. So you've really got, to me, I've got 3 pantries, right? You've got your working pantry, which is everyday use, the meats in my freezer, whether they're bone-in chicken thighs, all my red fish and black drum. That's more of my emergency food in there to eat over the winter, because why would I eat one that I've frozen in a food saver bag when I can eat a fresh one, right?
Right.
So, and then the other one is your emergency food pantry, and that's my Thrive Life or Augustin Farms. I don't care which one it is. I'm going to use the one that has the better price, whether it's onions, those sort of things. And then the other one's your long-term pantry that I consider backup. That's where all my duplicate spices are. When I grow dill and dehydrate it, I put it into a large commercial, from whatever McCormick, whatever spice jar it was in. And then I just filled the one up in my everyday working pantry. And I wanted to share a site with y'all that is the best one. And it's in Utah, the home of the food storage peoples, right? Preserve the Harvest, Utah State University. And it goes from A to Z, right? Whether you freeze, ferment, how to dehydrate, what's the best way to store that particular item, right? So in 2020, when we could not get bone-in chicken, we were eating bone-in chicken thighs, and I have some videos on it. Because I had it in a food saver bag, they were frozen in 2015. It's just something we eat a lot of, so I keep stacking them up in there, right? And then I flip them over when I do a little bit of reorganization. So when you say you buy those at $1 a pound, when they were actually available in the store, like 6 weeks after being cooped up, they were like $3 a pound. There will never be a time in my life I'm paying $10 for a pound of hamburger. And I like that in the community comments that a lot of people said was if I could find something, the price had doubled or tripled, and I wasn't willing to pay it. But the thing about having a working pantry with a freezer is you've got to have some type of generator for it in power outages. Just in general, when you have a snowstorm, I live in a hurricane zone, so I tend to have more food than the average bear because our house is raised on piers 9 feet in the air. And if I could have screen shared, I could have showed you my front driveway full of water and 14 inches under my house. So we ain't going nowhere. But that's why we have a solar-powered home with battery backup. Our bill will always be $9.84 because that's what we pay to sell them our power and their taxes in that. A $21 bill is high for us. But I would not want to have a bunch of bone-in thighs stacked up in a small chest freezer and in my other 2 refrigerator freezers without having an alternate power source. I don't care if that's a Honda out there, right, that we're cranking with gas, or a big Generac. So that's something to think about. If you don't have an alternate power source and a power loss, is that really an everyday working pantry? Because we eat through those things first. But once we moved here, we had so much access to catching our own fish, buying or catching our own local, at the little seafood places, raw shrimp. That's how I let the chicken build up, because we went on a hell of a seafood eating campaign for a long time. So I was very surprised that I had 3 packages at the bottom from 2015. But because it was a food saver bag, they were not compromised at all. You'd have to get a hole in there to do it. So there's also a lot of people don't want to can. They do not want to dehydrate, and you do not have to do that. But you have to have a way to have proteins for backup. Let's say you've lost power. You can still eat tuna in a can. There's some very good premium chicken breast in a can at places like Costco or Sam's. But right now they've had limits on those things since like February of this year, 2021. So it's not like if you ate through all your freezer chicken without losing power, that you have to find a way to replace it. I prefer my home canned chicken, right, in my canning pantry. But if you don't want a can, you don't have to. But you have to think of how are you going to do protein after you've eaten what's in your freezer. And we're all vulnerable to the grid. You know what I mean? Anytime going down. So,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with getting sausage crumbles from Augustin Farms or Thrive. I don't know if Tasha's ever tried those, or hamburger crumbles. Have you? Yeah.
I have Life membership, so yeah. I use a lot of the meats, but I've heard such great things. I'm confident with that meat, so because it's higher in price, and we do have, my father-in-law gives us meat that we put in the freezer every year. So
Nice.
I don't want to open that stuff up if I don't have to. But because I hear people like you and several other people who have tried it say it's really a great quality
Yes.
product, I'm confident in that.
There is one drawback to dehydrated and freeze-dried foods.
What?
Your body is not accustomed to eating that style of food.
Right.
If you've never eaten it, it's just like MREs. There is a reason there is gum in MREs, true military MREs. They will either bind you up, or you're going to be running to the outhouse every 5 minutes, and it's not going to be a pretty race. You have, if you're going to store it, and I do it myself just to make sure that if it comes down to the point where I have to start eating it on a fairly regular basis, that I'm not dehydrating myself while I'm rehydrating food.
Yes.
Okay? If you're going to store it, make sure you take at least 1 day a week, fix a meal of it, and start getting your body acclimated to eating it. The first couple times you do it, make sure you got a clean pathway to the bathroom.
Yes.
Because your body is going to say, what am I doing with all this? It's going to ask, why have I got all this excess water in the food? I've got to get rid of it somewhere. And that's what your body is saying, because it's not used to getting that much liquid through the actual food products itself.
Yeah. And you know something else while I'm thinking about it, as far as your long-term, more expensive food that's stored, like the Thrive Life and stuff, you have to look at it this way. Like most of the time, especially in America, we eat a larger serving portion than we actually need to survive.
Yes.
And so that food can last a lot longer if you're actually going by portion size, like true portion sizes, what each person for their age or activity level has. You know, what's recommended to them, instead of just munching just to munch, you know. Do more fillers with less expensive things than the meat.
Mm-hmm. And Mario pointed out too, it can plug you up like after you have surgery and that anesthesia trying to get out of your body, right? Is you're like, that constipation can be very ugly and terribly sick.
If you're taking any kind of NSAIDs, which is your heavy duty pain relievers, and you take them on a regular basis, you're already if you're not now, you're already on the verge of being bound up constantly anyway. Yes. Because those really solidify everything that's in there. So you really need to drink a lot of excess water or orange juice. Orange juice will really help, because orange juice, gives you the vitamin C you need. And it also works with your bowel system to help keep it regular.
Yes.
Because if you ain't regular, you're going to be miserable. And if the grid's down and you're miserable, and there's no AC and there's no fan power because you don't have an off the grid system in your home, you're going to be a very miserable person. You're not going to be you're going to be worthless to your family, because you're going to be cooped up in a room, sick, sweating to death. You know, and these are all things that are required to understand when you talk about storing up food, because it's not just, hey, I've got cupboards full of food, and I can feed me and 25 people for the next year. Well, that's great. I'm proud of you. But have you thought about what's going to happen when you have to start eating all that food? Do you have antidiuretic or antidiarrheal medicine in your house in case somebody winds up with the runs? Do you have anti-constipation pills if somebody gets all bound up? These are the things that you need to have to go along with your pantry, because your pantry is only one part of what you have to have.
Yes.
It takes a lot of other things along with that pantry in order to be sufficient enough to say, sit back and say, you know what? I got 6 months here. I can survive. I ain't worried. You all go out there and fight the hordes of the doggone FEMA truck. Should they be able to drive the FEMA truck to where you're at?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, because where I'm at right now, I can guarantee ain't no FEMA trucks coming here.
Right.
Because I got Cincinnati south of me. I got Columbus northeast of me. Yeah, I'm not getting nothing where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another tip is on the your system moving. If you do get bound up, magnesium powder, like the what is it called?
Was it milk and magnesia, but powder?
No, but it's a powder, and you can get Natural Calm is what it's called.
Ooh.
Natural Calm, and it's natural is capitalized. Calm is capitalized, but it's all one word, I believe, if they still have it that way. And it's a magnesium powder, and you can just do. I would suggest doing what the health food store owner, and she's an herbalist, told me is to do. Start with a half a teaspoon in some warm water. Take it, and then wait 30 minutes to an hour, and then see if that gets the system moving. If not, do another half teaspoon. I tried what the recommended thing on that was first time. Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. It's like explosive diarrhea if you do too much of it. So don't do that, please. Learn from my mistake.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But just microdosing it until you find out what your body needs for that. But it's very it tastes too bad. It's kind of got an Alka-Seltzer fizz when you add it to water and you drink it. It's great. And you can also do magnesium gels or creams and just moving.
Wow.
You know, you can do that as well. So
there's another thing that you should also think of too. Some people can eat certain types of lettuce, varieties with little issue, but there are other types of lettuces that can cause you to have the rut. So if you're eating food that is binding you up and you have your own garden and you've planted kale, see, I can't eat kale. I can eat lettuce all day long. I can eat cabbage, but my body cannot stand kale. It says run. So, and to get down, I know people that down the road that actually I was walking by there and seen they had several kale plants. So if grid goes down, I may just walk down there and say, hey, I'll trade you a baggie of food for a kale plant. Why?
Yes.
I have my reasons. Yes. I have my reasons.
I don't like kale.
Yes. And real quick, the clicking that y'all hear sometimes is Mouse or myself typing. Mouse is like,
no, actually, it's your microphone. I think your microphone is shot.
My mic is clicking. You hear clicking right now.
As long as you hold it, there's nothing. But when you let go of it, then it cuts in and out. It cuts in and out. Yes.
Let me try a different one. All right.
Technical issues when they happen are real, and we can't help them. Yeah. We don't have any buffering, Judy, but occasionally I looked like a bobblehead. Yeah. The other thing to always part of your emergency or your long-term pantry is to have ample gallons of bleach and the other one's vinegars. Because, and this was something I really liked in the comments. So many people said they could not get cleaning products. And so what I do is I use vinegar and like orange peels. I think we all know how to put that in a quart jar and let that become a cleaning product. But more than that, you can just use your alcohol, your hydrogen peroxide. I make my own window cleaner, right? With alcohol, you can put, I don't need it to smell good. It's window cleaner. But so we keep like 8 gallons of bleach on the very top shelves underneath and are under the house storage because we're 9 feet in the air. And there's only 1 bleach up in my pantry. So I don't need that to break, right? And be going all over the place. And when a storm comes, we'll take 3 of those bleach and we bring them up and we set them in the bathtub in case they break. That's just going to hurt my septic tank, but that's, not too bad.
Right. I was going to say, I'm going to go get this powdered bleach that I store also because it's shelf stable and it doesn't go bad as quickly as the liquid. I'll be right back.
Excellent idea.
There is another bleach you guys can get that's in powdered form, and that is pool bleach. There's a chlorine and a bleach that you can get for pools. The bleach one is for cleaning them. The chlorine is for obviously keeping the water clear and clean and bug free. But there is a powdered bleach that you can get. I don't remember the name of it. I haven't used it in years, therefore it might no longer be available because it's been like 25 years since I've used it. But there was a bleach that was in powdered form that was designed for pools. And it's mainly because pools have a higher, they're filled with chlorine all the time. So it's designed to help cut through any of the slime that's built up from having chlorinated water. If you leave water in a pool long enough, you'll notice the bottom of your pool develops a slimy film to it.
Yes.
That's partially because of the chlorinated water. And they had a special bleach that would clean that out.
Mm-hmm. When I make my glass cleaner, I save all old bottles, whether it's an old Glass Plus or Windex. They last a long time. It's a 1/4 cup of vinegar, a 1/4 cup of rubbing alcohol, and I put a tablespoon of cornstarch. And I shake it, and then I spray it, and it'll kind of look like it's very misty. When you wipe that down with a rag or paper towel, then it will not get icky again, because we get very heavy dews here. So at first it looks like it's not going to be a great thing that you had on there, but it makes it clearer than anything with Windex. And I used to have, almost all our houses had swimming pools for here, SOP, and the actual stuff that you get for the pool shock comes in a really nice bucket. And we had to get it out of our garage. You'll smell it after, because it gets hella hot, right, in South Carolina, where we've lived, or Louisiana, and it will start to rust things around it. Oh, there's bleach tablets. Okay, that's what people in the side chat were saying, Tasha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's evolved concentrated bleach tablets, and you can just like kind of press on it and like just break off a chip of it and dissolve it in water and use it. Let it get in the water, in warm water, and dissolve in there, and kind of stir it with something, and then just dip your rag or paper towel or whatever in there, and then do your cleaning with it if you need to.
Nice.
So
there's one cleaning product that I seen in the Walmart over where I used to live, and I haven't checked recently because I don't have the time to go walk around anymore. Because for me to get a ride to Walmart near me is going to cost me $40 via Lyft.
Wow.
I ain't got $40 to go ride and Lyft over to the Walmart.
Right.
So I have to, I just don't get to go anymore. But borax. Us old folks know the benefits of borax.
Yes.
Some of y'all younger folk might not have used borax or even know what it is. It's the 20 Mule team. Camp Pat and Family Compounds talked about it a few times. I've talked about it a few times in our lives. That is one that I would get, put it in a bag, vacuum seal it with a oxygen absorber and a desiccant pack in it, and store some of it in a nice, cool, dry place. It is one of the best cleaning products you can use. You can use it for laundry. You can use it to wash your dishes. You can use it to wash your feet. Okay, so borax is one of those
The big trick is you need to get it now while it's still available, because I looked to get that during the whole shortage situation, and it was nowhere for months on end around here. So luckily, I had some here, but I was just trying to look for it while I had it, because I wasn't sure how long shortages on other things would last. And it wasn't there. So,
hey, Courtney, trying to kiss up to me isn't going to do you a lick of good.
Yes, and Teresa said it's good for pest control product. Absolutely, borax. I put a scoop of it in every time we wash our clothes, because we're on a well in a septic tank, so you're not going to use bleach on a well. It'll turn your clothes yellowish gray, but more than that, it destroys your septic, your good amoebas and everything in there, eating stuff away before it goes to your leach field.
Right.
Okay, and Caitlin, they used to use borax on the basement floor of her mosque. Okay, and to replace the floor for tile replacement. A lot of people hate borax and think it's dangerous. I'm fine. I've used it for years. And I've made it to little balls when you go into a new apartment, and there are a lot of those German roaches, not big cockroaches that fly in from outside for a one and done, and then they die. But these, you can get rid of them in apartments because they hate it. Yeah, but they'll eat it.
Diatomaceous earth works great for that too. Any hard shell insect, make sure you have a few bags of diatomaceous earth around.
And that's if you use it like where you're going to be, do you want food grade? People always talk about food grade on that.
Yeah, diatomaceous earth you can eat. So
yeah, if it's food grade, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Gardner
perfect.
Josh says, I stopped an earthquake with borax. It does everything.
all right, smart Alec. Actually, and if it's straight diatomaceous earth, it is food grade. No matter what bag it's in, as long as it has nothing else added to it. It's nothing more than a basic talcum powder in content or feel and consistency. But if it's just straight diatomaceous earth, it's edible. Now, if it's got something added to it, if it's like in a bug spray for bed bugs or other pesticide outside, then don't use it for foodstuffs.
Right.
But straight diatomaceous earth in a regular green and white bag, you want to get rid of bugs on your rose bushes, with the exception of ladybugs. You don't want to kill them because they eat aphids. But if you don't have any ladybugs in your area, then sprinkle some diatomaceous earth on the bottom, third of your plants and across the ground. It'll get rid of a lot of your insects. Works great in your garden too. You got problems with, and this is for hard shell insects. It doesn't work on soft bodied insects as well. So if you got a problem with, cabbage or onions or carrots or whatever getting eaten up from up above from hard shell insects, then sprinkle some diatomaceous earth over it. It doesn't kill them instantly. It's slow and painful to them. And I don't care.
Right?
Die bugs.
And DTE, a lot of farmers use DTE on diatomaceous earth on like their chickens, and they'll even put it in their food or other farm animals because ingesting it actually kills parasites and things like that in animals, from what I understand, as well as breaking up the exoskeleton, cutting the exoskeleton of mice and other parasites on the external part of the body. So works great internally and externally.
Good. And there's nothing wrong if you don't want to can or dehydrate, but there are going to be some things that you need to supplement that might be from Augustin Farm or Thrive if you want to have like onions available, that sort of thing. So I think the things that are I hate watching videos today where everyone's an alarmist. It's going to be 10 times worse if it happens again. All we can do is try to hold on. Yeah. Would you turn that back on, please? Oh, yes. Thank you. Sorry. Husband interrupt us. It's what happens. It's 1 hour a week.
This is why I stay single. I have no interruptus other than child, and he's been warned. He interrupts. I plant my foot so far up his butt, it takes a neurosurgeon and proctologist to get it back out.
Yeah, it's terrible.
He is very nervous about that.
Good. Well, fear is what kept us out of prison too. You know what I mean? Bad behavior in our day.
Fear of mom's cast iron frying pan flying across the back of my skull kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Right. So I don't go with the things. I don't like the people trying to make people panic. You have to do it now. We all have to do something in a budget. And by inflation proofing our food storage means that when we ate the chicken thighs that we'd had with no freezer burn, no issues from being in our freezer, that was inflation proof. We didn't have to pay the current high prices.
Plus, it also opened up the ability for you to take the money that you need other things like toilet paper, which got really scarce for a while.
Yeah,
where you had to have it, and you were using it up, and it took a while for it to come back. Some people actually ran out of their stores. So they had to pay a little bit extra to get that 6 or 8 or 10 pack. So when you future proof your pantry, it opens up funds to get the things that you can't store a lot of as easily and get it into the house, where other people are spending all their extra money on 2 pounds of hamburger while you just bought 4 rolls of toilet paper and 2 Pepsis and a candy bar. And they're going, how can you buy all that, man? Don't you? Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry about me. You take care of yourself. I ain't telling you what I got.
It's the same as couponers know, right? I'm going to save where I can, so I spend where I want to or need to. Right. And just like, I don't care if toilet paper we saw the ridiculous prices. And that's been surprising me about the big store most of us purchase from, that'll deliver anywhere, is they let them try to sell toilet paper cases of very bad toilet paper too, not even good, for $400, right? That really surprised me that they would allow that, but they're allowing a lot of fakes of things as well too, and that was very frustrating because the people who could have needed it were too smart to pay that much for it. And Mylar bags is one of our, I think Tasha likes them. I really like Mylar bags.
Teresa, that is not fun. That would be very sad.
Oh no, Teresa, I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Now, as far as my area, now mind you, I like Steve at Corsair Trainers. He's got great information. He's a very smart, intelligent Marine. He's not an ex-Marine. He's just currently sitting at home as a Marine. But if you don't know who Corsair Trainers is, you really need to go check him out. Great, full of information. But the point, what I'm trying to get to is there are people like in Colorado and California where major meat packing plants and major hubs for everything that you need, because Colorado is kind of the high point between the West Coast and the East Coast. Trucks roll up to Colorado, then down. Okay. So when you get into Colorado, there's a lot of warehouses there. And out in California, there's even more. So right now, those warehouses were filled because of what happened last year. Those warehouses were filled to the rafters. So they're still pulling out of those warehouses. We're over here on the Midwest. In some areas of the East Coast, we're starting to go, hey, y'all, can you share some of that food y'all got stored in that warehouse? And they're saying, nope. Food here 2 months ago, or let me rephrase that, back beginning of March, when I first moved into this house, hamburger was still $3.49 a pound for the cheap stuff, the 70-30, whatever it is, or, the cheap stuff, the fatty stuff. Right now, it is just shy of $6 a pound.
Yep.
And there is very little of it to go around.
Yeah.
So when I go to the store and I can see 10, 15 pounds of it, I usually grab like half of what's sitting there because I'm not going to be stingy and take it all.
Yeah.
But I try and grab as much as I can so I don't have to worry about it. That's on my little chest freezer. It's only a little 7 cubic foot, whatever you want to call it. It's a little teeny one, but literally right now it's so full I can barely close the door. But it's got ham, it's got a turkey in it, it's got chicken, it's got hamburger, it's got sausage patties, it's got hot dogs, bratwurst. It's full of virtually everything. So I've got, and one thing you have to think about when you do prepping for your food is I got a very varied menu of stuff. I don't have just one thing that I've stocked up on.
Right.
And plus now when I go to the store, the other day I bought the last package of pork chops that they had that I would buy that wasn't $20-some for the package. It still cost me $13 for the package of pork chops. 6 thin pork chops was $13. Back in March, that same package was like $6.50. So we are seeing, and this isn't trying to scare anybody. This is what I'm seeing in my area. Your area is going to be different. Unless, of course, you live in the same city that I live in, then you'll see the same thing.
Yeah.
But Steve said out there where he's at, they're not seeing shortages. Their prices haven't went up. Somebody mentioned earlier that in Colorado, their prices haven't went up yet. But they're at the top of the supply chain, basically, because of their location. There's more food processing plants out west than there is here in the Midwest or East Coast. Yeah, we have some here. We have a Tyson plant somewhere not too far, like 200-300 miles away. But unfortunately, they don't have very many workers because they've been getting paid to sit on their butts for far too long.
Yeah. Another struggle that we're seeing is truck driver shortage, because a lot of the trucking companies are wanting ridiculous prices for transporting the goods. And so it's hiking up the prices like crazy. And so
there's
the smaller trucking companies are trying to, with friends that are truckers, friends of mine that are truckers, they've said that the bigger trucking companies are hiking up the prices, and then those places are not willing to pay that. So they're having to do the smaller truck driving companies or individual truck drivers to transport their goods. And so there's not enough of them to go around to
Well,
transport the goods.
that's partially true. That's partially true. Companies like Schneider, JB Hunt, Warner, Consolidated Freightways, and a host of other ones. There's about 13 major trucking companies in the U.S. Everybody else is, peas in a pot compared to them. These are the companies that have so many tractor trailer units that they ship their trailers on rail because it's cheaper for them than to hire a driver to drive it across the United States. It's not faster, but it's cheaper.
Right.
And the problem becomes when, all right, let's say Tyson has 10 truckloads of chicken they need to get shipped across the U.S. and destination is irrelevant. They just got 10 trucks or 10 trailer loads they need to ship. They contact a broker. I'm not going to name any brokers' names because I probably will get yelled at by several brokers that I still have talked to. That's how I know the information I have. They'll contact these brokers. These brokers then contact these trucking companies. They first hit up JB Hunt and Schneider. Hey, I got 10 truckloads that we need to move. They can say, no, we're not willing to haul it for that price. Because when Tyson says, okay, I got 10 truckloads and we're willing to pay, to the East Coast, $1,000 per truck, to the West Coast, $800. Okay, that's not a lot of money when it comes to moving a truck.
No.
And then the broker's going to take their 10 to 15, sometimes 20%. So that $1,000 load that was going to say New York from, the Midwest, like, Idaho or Iowa, I mean, that $800 really doesn't get that truck there anymore effectively. And then you got truck drivers that are going, man, I just can't haul it for that. And I wouldn't personally, I would not go from Iowa to New York for no $800 because it's like 1,300 miles. So I'm not even making $1 a mile for the truck. And it takes $1 right now. It takes $1.62 per mile for the truck to break even. That doesn't put a penny in the driver's pocket.
Yeah.
So
okay. And then you're also dealing with tires. Like if tires get blown out because
that's
things in the middle of the road, things like that.
Right. That's included in that $1.62 a mile. Over the average of a year, that $1.62 per mile covers the expense of tires and regular maintenance. Now you blow a motor or a transmission, or you get in an accident, that's right out the window.
Yeah. Speaking of when we were mentioning freezers and your size of freezers was another thing that there was a shortage of during that time. So I suggest if you're needing a freezer and you see it in stock and you have a way to get it because that's going to be the best way. You can stock up your freezer when you find stuff on sale. You can stock up your freezer by going into a cooperative with several people who are all wanting to stock up their freezers and maybe purchase a half a calf from a farmer, and then you pay the processing fee for that. Just have everything divided equally between however many families or people that you're going to do it with. That's a way to save money per pound. That's also a way Mouse, was it you that was saying that there's some Amish people that live close by? I can't remember who it was talking about it. There's some Amish people that live close by. So what they would do is they would go from the Amish people, and it's just super crazy cheap. Sorry, whoever it was that was discussing that with me. My brain, sometimes the cells just don't hold the information. But anyway, they were getting pounds and pounds of produce for like $2.
Wow.
For like two sacks of whatever kind of produce that they had. And so, and even they will advertise like what they have, and then like you can still ask, hey, do you have any of this or that? And they might not have advertised it, but they are growing it, and they'll get it for you. If they have it, they're more than happy to sell it to you. So it's even cheaper than grocery stores or farmers markets to do it that way if you have access to something like that. But check with your farmers. And if you don't have access locally to something like that, like they shut down farmers markets and things like that in our area last year. So people couldn't even rely on that to get food that was in high demand at that time. So that's an option to check with your local farmers, even if you still have a Facebook post on there, hey, needing fresh veggies, who's got some for sale? You can post it that way, or if it's specific vegetables that you would like, you can do that as well. But yes, you need to be thinking of out of the box ways to get it done. And if you're going to butcher a cow or a pig or whatever it is you're going to butcher, you need to check with your butchers and go ahead and set up those appointments months in advance prior so that you have the butcher date already set for whatever animal you have that's going to butcher, because a lot of people were finding they couldn't even get into the butcher for 4 to 6 months. So
That's right.
Yeah, most butchers up until January last year weren't very busy. But since January, February last year, when everybody says, I think it's time to buy a half-sided cow or a pig, they've been swamped. They can't keep up with the demand. And so, Gil and I both said it last year in our live streams, both of us. You need to get and start talking with friends and family, pooling together, buying full cows, getting it processed down, and everybody sharing the expense and storing it. Because, look at it now, 4, 6, 8, 10 weeks out before you can get a chance to even talk to them about cutting one up.
Yeah.
It's very
and here's a tip. I know everybody likes bacon. Bacon makes the world go round. But if you're going to go out and get a pig and have it butchered, put all the edible meats into a sausage. You can use that to replace hamburger. You can use it to make sausage patties. You can use it and replace the chicken. It works for everything. It is the most succulent sausage you've ever tasted. All edible meats ground up into a sausage roll. They're little teeny rolls. 1 pound, you throw them in the freezer and you're good.
Yeah.
Sounds so good.
And it's also a lot cheaper to have it butchered that way than to have them take and make individual cuts for bacon slab and your pork chops and your pork shoulder and all this other stuff. So if you're going to go out and get a pig, just get it all done up into sausage.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dustin.
Yeah. Yeah, when my father-in-law sent a butcher calf in to be processed, he sent a couple in, and then he splits part of that meat between all of. He has 5 adult families, and he splits that meat between all of us. And so this time we got 50 pounds of hamburger meat is what we got. We didn't want any special cut meats. Hamburger meat's the main thing that we eat for meat, and it's versatile. So that's what we typically do with our cows. But anyway, it was some of the best, most wonderful tasting marbled meat you will find. It was incredible. It was so good. And the butcher was like, I really hated putting this into hamburger meat because he said this was like $8 a pound quality meat here, like if we would have done it in steaks and all of that. But
hey, you know what? I can live on just straight. I don't have to have T-bone steaks. I don't have to have filet mignon. I don't have to have any of that fancy stuff. Put it in little teeny round rolls that I can put in freezer baggies, suck the air out of them, shove them into the freezer at the bottom of it, and let them sit there for 2, 3, 4 years. Not having to worry about they're not going to get freezer burnt because their air's been removed out of the bag, so they're going to be fine 5, 6 years from now. Just let me throw it on the bottom of my freezer. So when y'all going out there, man, I got to go find me a deer and there's no deer left to find, I still got some hamburger. Y'all be going, hey, Dave, can you fire up the barbecue? Because we hungry.
Mm-hmm. But you also,
you know what? I need that fence fixed. Go fix my fence and I'll feed you.
You store what you eat also. And so does Tasha. We're not like, I hate Brussels sprouts, right? So I'm not going to can. They're cute as hell when they grow and they're cute as hell in a jar, but I don't want to eat them. So
shame on you, Mouse.
Store them. I know they taste like farts in the middle. I don't understand the Brussels sprout. They're terrible. They're little tiny cabbages. They're stupid.
Mouse.
What?
You're grounded.
Okay. You don't eat kale. I can't either.
Brussels sprouts, the thing is, it's like you were talking about in your last video where you were doing shrimp Creole and you were saying that if the garlic gets burned, it just ruins it all. That's the way with Brussels sprouts. You've got to be careful not to burn it because it gets such a bitter flavor doing it that way. If you cook it right, it's so good. It's real good.
Steamed Brussels sprouts drowned in cheddar cheese. If the Brussels sprouts are not screaming for life jackets and life preservers, there's not enough cheese on it.
You're gonna.
I didn't say I couldn't cover it with something to help the flavor, but I personally like Brussels sprouts.
In 2020, because Neighbors was hungry, right? And I kept getting texts from my one big sort of gorilla guy, buddy, and he said, "Man, I'd pretty much trade anything for some bone-in chicken, of course. And of course, he knows I use food saver bags. And I said, what do you want to trade for that? He said, well, right now, in anticipation of manipulating with you with my text, in 30 minutes, I can bring over a smoked salmon and applewood for Vern and you. So in other words, he knew if he texted me. So I traded a raggedy hen, a chopped up hen, bone in, because he and his wife wanted so desperately to have some barbecue chicken, because this was like week 6 of being cooped and not having anything in the store. So we got a smoked frozen, salmon that they had. Went to Alaska and he had a really good generator, and it was amazing. And it was just like, wow. So I just pulled one out of the freezer. And again, when he got that salmon, it was his own work, right? And he had it in food saver bags with the intention to at some point barter it. And because he knows I have stuff, right? Like you've got your little hamburger stored away down there. I mean, Tasha can go take out one of her cows, right? So, and there it is. But store what you eat and make a plan. But if you're going to count on frozen food, you know what I mean? Because my freezer's also, my chest freezer's not large either, SOP, because I just don't need a big one. There's 2 grown people here. And we've got 2 fridge freezers, and then that little chest freezer there's got to be some kind of backup power, or it's got enough that you can eat it, right? Cook it and eat it, or can it to use it, or barter with neighbors at that point.
I couldn't eat everything in mine. I would be the size of this house.
Right.
So unfortunately, the owner of this house he bartered for a generator that wouldn't run. And once I moved in here, and he said, mind you, he's had the generator for like 4 years and never monkeyed with it.
You fixed
the minute
it?
I moved in, he got it running. So now that if something happens, now I will set it up in the basement. It may be loud and obnoxious, but I'm going to vent the pipe outside so the exhaust doesn't come in the house, folks. Don't worry. I'm not stupid. But I'm going to set it up in the basement so nobody can walk up and swipe it.
Right.
And our freezer is going to still be running. Now, I might not be able to use my computer worth a damn at that point, but I have a 1,000-watt power inverter, and I have a battery and a solar panel that if I can find some internet service somehow, I can still communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not if your freezer's running, you can feed yourself and your child. Yeah, we got priorities. You know what I mean?
Mouse says, if in the comments on that poll that you did on your channel, one of the ladies on there commented how she basically lost 30 pounds in a course of so many months because she wasn't able to eat very much during that time. Wow. And that was just heartbreaking. That's where things like rice and beans comes in. It may not be the best, but it's going to at least be a meal if you need it, and it's inexpensive. And then you can add on to that. But having things like that are inexpensive, that's going to go is better than nothing, at least, and get some of that in there, at least a few months worth of rice. Making sure, like you said, freeze those things and then bring back out and give them a chance to air dry, and store them in your Mylar bags or whatever. But that was heartbreaking for me. And we talked about this privately, but there were a lot of moms that were begging people for formula for their babies because there was a formula shortage. And that was heartbreaking too. And you don't ever want to be in that spot. Like as adults, we'll do without if we have to, but when it comes to our kids, and grandkids, that is heartbreaking to watch them have to go without something. Because
in my old apartment where I used to live, where I actually had to leave a lot of stuff behind because there was no place here to keep it, for one. 2, I had no use. I don't live near anybody right now that's got babies. There's no babies near me. So I actually had baby food that had been stored in an airtight baggie, Ziploc with oxygen absorbers and desiccant packets to keep moisture out of it. If it's stored properly, it'll store for 3 years past its expiration date. I wouldn't use it past that, but you can, but I had some stored because in the complex where I was living, there was lots of babies.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're in an area where you can, you may be able to help somebody in that situation, you may be able to trade that food for their kid for some work that you need done. So you have to constantly think ahead. You know, I've got X number of boxes of this. I might be able to trade a box of this, even though I'm not going to eat it. I may be able to trade a box of this for, you know, maybe a can of green beans that I ran out of, or a can of kidney beans or something.
Right.
Watch your beans. Some beans go rancid really quick.
Or somebody trade out like chopping wood for your wood stove, or, you know, if you have that like we do. Doing some kind of labor on the farm, like helping feed the animals or something like that. There's lots of things that you can do, even just errand running. Hey, if you'll run and do this for me, you know, so many errands, then we'll trade something out. We'll work something out. Anyway, they're not feeling like they're being given charity either. A lot of people have a hard time with that, giving charity.
There's one other main prepping tip I want to hit real quick. Let's say, you know, our worst fears is the grid goes down, or, you know, we have mass shortages of everything and they're starting to truck food in via the FEMA I'm so broke I can't pay attention company there.
Right.
Thank you, government. Let's say they're trucking food in. The last thing you want to do is be the only person not going to that truck, because then everybody's going to realize you've got something. The best way to keep what you got yours is to make sure nobody else realizes you got it. Now, for those of us who are here on YouTube and we put our faces out here, we have went ahead and put a bullseye on the back of our heads.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are also very capable of dealing with said idiots who decide they want to try to take what we've got. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, that's for sure.
So, but for those who aren't comfortable with powdered projectiles or bowstringed weaponry or knives and swords and stuff like that, what you want to do, and this may make some people uncomfortable, is you want to make sure you have some raggedy old clothes that are about a size and a half too big for you, so you can walk up there that looks like you haven't eaten in a while. You've got a belt extra cinched up because your clothes don't fit very well. Whether you weigh 20 pounds or 200,000 pounds, it don't matter. And I'm saying that so I include everybody, because, you know, I'm not trying to be derogatory when I say this. Make sure it looks like you have lost weight, that you haven't eaten, that you desperately need what's on that truck, whether you really need it or not. Because if everybody thinks you got something because you ain't showing up, they're going to be knocking at your door trying to do very nefarious things. Make sure you make it look like you desperately need it too. That is a key tip that most preppers don't usually talk about, because they want people to go buy my t-shirt and you'll survive the world apocalypse. That t-shirt ain't going to do nothing. That t-shirt's so nasty, it won't even filter water. Don't buy their t-shirt. Don't buy their stupidity. Listen to people like Miles who can teach you how to can your food. Don't listen to me. I'm just some crazy old fool.
I like when SOP's talking about that, because years ago we were on a panel and we brought that up and people were like, well, I'd never do that. And I'm thinking, I'm going to wherever the FEMA truck is so that my neighbors don't think, oh, my house is empty, right? And what are you going to gather when you go out there? You're going to gather information. How many people are here? Did their younger grandkids come? You know what I'm saying? And you're going to get information from the people in that truck. And I remember that because we were on the same panel. I was like, shoot, I'm going to be looking like I'm going to be looking like an 84-year-old woman, right, on purpose. And one of us is going to stay home. We're both not going, right, so that we can protect our house. But going to be just shuffling along like, ooh, times are real hard at our house. And something else I really like from the Utah State University, the Preserve the Harvest, and because SOP brought it up, expiration dates. They actually, I think they call them expiry dates, EXPIRY. Blah. Oh, they British in there in Mormon world. It confused me.
Expiry date.
Between sell-by dates and expiration dates. You know, because I can have a can of pineapple rings pop and it's not even ready to expire. But it's a pineapple and they like to use those Pop-Top lids. So that was a really good site to learn how to store the food, you know, what to put in it, whether is a Mylar bag better, is your Tupperware better, those kind of things. And all we can do is apologize for the YouTube issues. Sandra was having problems posting links. I couldn't post them. So it's not just us and our DSL. YouTube's going insane tonight. Our StreamYards are a combination of both. And Suburban Hillbilly and lots of side chatters gave epic suggestions in the side. So we'll do this again when we can actually share our screen. Okay. And actually, but we did the best we could with what we had to work with on YouTube and StreamYards.
One more thing,
Yeah.
because I know you're about ready to shut her down, or at least, I mean, I don't know why. Courtney's not going live tonight. She said she's going to go busy with family tonight. You know, she's leaving the rest of us family out.
So Courtney did sing us, is she? We can stay on
Yes,
as
she
long
is.
as
Courtney's just running off with her family.
Okay, I have to pee, and we go an hour. We've already gone an hour and 15, and you have to go to the after with us, Dave, because we have to pick your technical brain.
Okay.
Yep.
I dropped a link in. Well, wait, I can't drop the link because I'm not a moderator. So
let me
it
add
didn't
you.
show up. But I have a Discord channel. I have a Discord channel. On my Discord channel is 1.67 gigabytes of downloadable PDFs with everything from canning, and it's from the ball book. The recipes are from the ball book, so you know they're good. They're legit. If you don't trust what I've got there, go check with Mouse.
I believe
and
you.
I say that. Every stuff on there from aviaries to dealing with cows, animal husbandry, all kinds of interesting other things.
Can you put a comment out inside so that I can add you as a mod, because I'm not finding you. I can't scroll up high enough.
You could juice a troll if you ever need to. Okay, there he is, right below Teresa Loves Spins.
All right, got you added as a mod there, Dave.
All right, there's the link to my Discord channel.
Okay.
Join it. It's full of information. And everything that we've discussed here is in there. I mean, and the information is there free. All you have to do is right next to each PDF file, there's a download link. You can download it. You can download every single file. It ain't going to cost you a thing other than a few minutes of time.
Awesome. Thank you for that resource, Dave.
I highly recommend that everybody do it. I get nothing for it. It does cost me money. I'm not asking anybody to pay for it. Mm-hmm. I did it so people would have access to information. Get that information. Store an extra copy of it on a flash drive, a zip drive, or something off to the side. So should your main computer get hit, you can still pull it up. If you want, transfer those files to an old cell phone that you can read and put that in a Mylar bag, seal it shut, stick it in the corner. Once every 6 months, pop it out, recharge the battery, and leave it that way. That way you've always got information backed up that you can pull up and read. Because if we lose our grid for whatever reason, be it Russia sends a nuke overhead at 380 miles and we have a massive EMP that takes out 90% of our country and sends us back to the Stone Age, or a massive solar flare hits us, or whatever. For whatever reason, we have a point where we cannot communicate the way we are, and you don't have the kind of information you have access to now. Having a portable resource library is going to be key to survival.
Yes.
Now, let me say this. People have heard me. I hate Discord, okay? Because Discord was the streamers' land, right, of the shoot-'em-up video games, and they started swatting, which is what people try to do who don't like channels.
Been
send
swatted.
the cops to your house. Hang on. The only Discord I will join is Southern Ohio Prepping, because he does not play games in there with people's information, right? He doesn't need to know your real name, your address, any of that. So I'm going to be joining his Discord because I didn't know he still had one. And so that's the only one I trust to join, because it's just terrible. You know what I mean? We don't need to put ourselves more at risk. And when he does reviews, or like with the link he was giving us for that and talking about the ball link and the information, they're legit. He never sends you to something. I hate to go to something and it's nothing but fluff. It's like a word salad. You know what I mean? When Dave does a review on something, it's legitimate and honest when he sets something up. So I'm looking forward to joining that, to not only have this, right, and a cell phone as a way to communicate. So thanks for putting
because it's
Dave.
free speech. It's not monitored by any government.
Right.
Matter of fact, I had an issue with Discord. I had somebody in my Discord channel that tried causing problems when I first started this one a long time ago. And I needed some help from Discord. And Discord themselves cannot come into my server unless I give them an invite.
Right.
So it is free speech. The only thing I ask is you keep it to a polite roar. Don't be derogatory toward other people, other races, religions, or anything. As long as you can keep it nice and polite, I have no problem with what you say. I even have a spot in there called the tin hat area. So if you have theories you want to throw out there and discuss, go talk about it there.
That's awesome.
Okay? But I encourage free speech because you know what? Even if I don't agree with what Mouse Toes is doing for whatever reason, now if she does something I don't agree with, I do know that a lot of other stuff that she does, I do agree with.
Exactly.
So rather than belittle her for one stupid little teeny thing that is in the grand scheme of things is absolutely asinine to argue about, I'm gonna say, look, Mouse, I disagree with you, but hey, we agree on this subject. Can we discuss it so I can get your thoughts on this?
Right. That's what grown-ups do, right? Okay. That's what adults do. We don't have to try to force our beliefs on somebody else.
Yeah.
Right?
I refuse to go to another site where people can attack each other. Right? It's we can.
That doesn't happen over here.
Yeah, you can have atheist friends, Jewish friends. I'm sick of I disagree with you, so I'm going to shred you, and I'm going to talk smack about your channel and men attacking women out here. The absolute, because I can kick most of their ass, and I dare them to do it to my face.
Yeah, no kidding.
They got to do it in keyboard, right? So I know if I go to Dave's Discord, I'm not going to have to deal with that because I can't. I cannot live in a world to chaos and attacks. I don't care if you're 25 and I'm 64. You can teach me something. I can teach you something.
Exactly. Everyone has something to teach and something to learn. One last final thought real quick. Quit being a food snob people. Okay. You may not be able to afford to store up all the name brands that you like. You may have to buy the more generic things, but at least you have it as backup if you need it. It's better than losing 30 pounds because you're starving because you don't have food in your pantry or your refrigerator or your freezer. Also, another thing is, we don't get food pantry here in this household. My husband makes a little bit too much money, but other family members and friends do get it. And if they don't use, they offer it to us, and I take it. And if you look at Courtney from White Family Farms' recent video on making grape jelly out of grape juice, a lot of people get juices and things like that, and they won't use them. Maybe it upsets their stomach because of the acidity and things like that. If they offer it to you, take it. Make jelly out of that juice. If you don't like to drink the juice yourself, make jelly out of it. A lot of people, their kids get WIC, which is women, infants, and children. They get juices and things like that with that. And for whatever reason, their kid doesn't like juices. Well, tell them, hey, if you're going to get it anyways, maybe I'll trade you something for that juice or whatever. Or if you're just not going to get it, not use that voucher at all, I would love to take for you to get that, take it off of your hands, and I'll give you some of the finished product as a trade. I'll give you some of the jelly that I make with that or whatever, because we got to think outside the box here, people, and not be snobs in all of the products that we want to use. You've got to think, okay, this is for our survival. It's not always going to be exactly what we want. And you can use it to make wine too. You sure can. Well, I want to thank Mouse Toes for your great tips. I want to thank SOP, Mr. Dave, Southern Ohio Prepping, for his great tips and his technical help earlier in this. And if you guys are not subbed to the channels, please sub to their channel. We love y'all. We thank you so much for watching. Any last words, Mouse or Dave?
Just, keep storing up some food. Don't feel panicked. Do what you can in your budget. Don't let all the channels trying to make you think you're fixing to die in a couple weeks. Do it.
Damn, I was just going to say that.
You have to. I know that. That's why I jumped in.
You're gonna die, people. You're gonna die.
Out of people. I'm kidding. It doesn't really say that. Do it at your pace and your budget. Nobody's going to go out and load their Visa card up. Do the best that you can. That's all you can do. And you don't have to can or dehydrate. You just have to think harder and buy cans of tuna and cans of chicken breast. And hopefully we can, whatever YouTube or StreamYard's issue is tonight, for once it's not just me and Tasha on DSL. Hopefully we can get rid of it, and another time we can do this and actual share our pantry porn and pictures, which make it easier to freaking understand.
Well, see, what'll have to happen is y'all have to just join me on one of my live streams. I'll have to host one of these, and that way you just email me the pictures, and I'll put them up when y'all want me to show them. because I have a high-end system here, and you know, I got 32 gigs of memory in this computer. I'm running a GTX 980 graphics card, which is still considered relatively high-end.
Okay, slow your roll, SOP. Don't be talking about our lack of memory, bro. It's not our.
Okay.
I got
No, not this
Josh,
memory,
hold on.
that memory,
You
the
question.
computer
Don't make
memory.
me mute you, SOP. It is not our systems. We're on DSL. But yes, if you want to be our leader, then we will come over and I will send you the pictures. Okay, but it's like tonight. It's not us. Tasha never ever has this issue. I was a bobblehead. Our computers are bro. You believe would listen? Bite me, SOP. Okay, but I'm down with you.
No. No. If I have to come down there and face your wrath.
System, okay? You gotta quit making fun of my prehistoric computer system. I can't help it, okay?
It's not prehistoric, Tasha.
Mouse.
We live remotely.
Mouse.
Go ahead, city boy. Tell me what you got to say. But I'm just saying,
Hey,
if you want to
this
do
city
that,
boy spent more than enough hours in the country. Thank you. Anyway, if I have to come down there and face your wrath, you have to provide me with a bowl of split pea soup.
I will listen. I will oh yeah, you'll get some split pea soup.
Cooked in a bowl with a
brand
side of
new
crackers that I
2020
don't have to
car
wear.
Can drive up to Ohio and run whirling, just laying rubber all around your house. Okay, and I'll be throwing jars of split pea. We have to go now because we have to go into an after chat.
Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you coming in. If you're not subscribed and you like what you saw tonight, please subscribe. Hit that bell. Hit the thumbs up, please. And guys, remember, bye, guys.